How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 3rd of October 2021. I'm going to do some analysis on Bitcoin. Something that I'm really liking on Bitcoin. It's looking pretty strong, and I'm seeing a little bit more upside. But I like the reversal that it's just done, and it seems to be propping up the rest of the market as well. So I'm going to kind of do a very quick update on Bitcoin. Before I get into the analysis, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that's supporting me on Patreon. I really appreciate it, and I said, I've said this before, but I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It's not a small thing. So big thank you to everybody, and the links in the description below for if you're not part of our growing community. You're welcome. Obviously, links in the description below. And with that said, let's get into the Bitcoin analysis. Sorry, I'm squinting a bit because the sun. I've just been discussing the weather. Sorry, I know it's random, but one minute it's sunny, the next minute it's pissing it down with rain, then it's sunny again. I don't understand. It's so bizarre in this country. The UK is weird, man, when it comes to the weather. We have all the seasons all in one day. So Bitcoin. This pop here is very good. Yeah, I've said this in the previous video, but I really like that Bitcoin is stabilizing up here and that it hasn't just continued, that it hasn't, popped like this and then kind of reversed. It's gone flat. It's just sat there. It is possible, like I said in the previous video, that we get a snap down, which would be the best scenario. But the more I look at this, the more I'm starting to see that it could just potentially run straight for this area of liquidity up here. And if it does that, that's going to bode very well for Bitcoin, and especially going into the month of October when we know that there's going to be volume pickups and more participants coming back into the marketplace. So far so good. We can see it much more clearly on the 4-hour chart. And you can see the reversal. I mean, look, price went down there. And check this out, guys. Right, price went down, dipped into liquidity, grabbed some, and you can see it's bouncing off this area. We had a point there where it just popped, stabilized, and then rip straight up into this area of liquidity up here on the 4-hour, and it's just sat there. This is exactly what we want to see. Now, when you look at a chart like this, what is the likelihood, just based on just a simple analysis of just, you're sitting here, you're staring at a chart like this, and you can see kind of the flow and the way things are going, and you start to kind of ask yourself, is it likely that Bitcoin's just going to drop now, and come straight down to 40,000? And when you do this and you start to ask yourself these questions, you start to get you start to become more familiar with the way that price is moving. You don't need to really understand price. You don't really, need to understand technical analysis or be a genius or a boffin or anything silly like that to understand it just doesn't look like it wants to go back down to 40,000. Now, this is before we've actually looked into it, checked out the liquidity, where did it go, where's it stabilizing, what's it doing. It's just a normal, it's like a basic observation. Yeah, it just doesn't look like it wants to go back down to 40,000. So we start with that premise, and then we move forward and we say, right, we know there's liquidity above. We know price dipped into this area down here multiple times, okay? And I know it just came shy here, but this is a clear dip into it, and then it's stabilizing in this area, stabilizing. And Bitcoin had two choices at this point. It could have either just continued to run lower, okay, and go for lower liquidity, or what it did now, just run to the upside. And when we see this, it gives us much more confidence, that there's been an injection of volatility, okay, and that injection created this move, and now the stabilizing in this area solidifies and gives us more confidence that this is going to hold, which is what we want. We want Bitcoin to hold at 48,000 and then potentially start to run up above this high, and then go straight for this liquidity up here, all of this, and that's looking like that is what is going to happen. If we go back over to the daily, I mean, I really like the way that this chart's setting up. We've got almost full negation here, so price came down, it's just negated the move completely, so this has become almost void at this point. And there's 3 or 4 reasons why it needs to go up. There's imbalances, there's liquidity there. We've got the upper level up here, obviously, but 50,000, is a huge key psychological level as well. We are stabilizing here, as I've said, so if we pop, 50,000 is the first place it's going to go immediately. It's just going to rip straight for 50,000, and then if it continues to, go along that line and the momentum is there, sentiment looks good for Bitcoin as well, then we will likely see 52,000 and start to dip into this. Now the reaction here, I'm going to just bring it out a little bit more, but the reaction here will tell us the next stage. Yeah. Sorry, let me just drag this out, make it clean, and we'll make this as well. You know, so the reaction at this point when we get there, okay, because I absolutely believe wholeheartedly that Bitcoin is going to 100,000, so it has to pass this to get to 100,000, okay. But when we get there, the reaction at this point will tell us the significance of this area of liquidity, okay. Now I've obviously mapped price up to this point. I look at Bitcoin daily. I'm always keeping, you know, tabs on where price has been, where it is now, where it could potentially go. So I know the flow up to this point. And like I said, if it goes up there, or when it goes up there and it does what it needs to do, it will give me an indication as to what it picked up previously on the weekly and the monthly and some of these larger time frames, where it's going to be offloading that. Yeah, you know, so we need to see that first. Yeah, and everything that we're seeing so far bodes well. It looks good for Bitcoin. It's great for the market in general, you know, to give that uplift, to keep the market pushing forward and keep pushing upwards, you know, and maintain that level of momentum that we're going to need going into the remainder of the year. Because as soon as we hit the later part or the latter part of November, towards the end of November going into December, things start to dry up again, and the volatility increases because there's not that much volume going into the marketplace, especially in the Forex market. So just be mindful of that. So everything's looking good on Bitcoin, really liking the way it's moving. And with that said, guys, again, you know, a massive thank you to everybody regarding the Patreon. If you enjoy the content that I'm delivering, which I will continue to post obviously on, you know, YouTube as normal, give the videos a thumbs up, share, like, subscribe, tell your friends. You know, it means a lot to me and it helps the channel grow, obviously. All right, so take care, guys. Hope everyone's having a fantastic weekend, and I will catch up with you soon. All the best.